What if I told you that a single company, one you might barely recognize, has a seat at the table of almost every major corporation on Earth? This is BlackRock. With over $14 trillion in assets under management, they are more than just a bank. They are a global financial superpower. Together with Vanguard and State Street, they form the Big Three. This trio is the largest shareholder in nearly 90% of the companies in the S&P 500. But today we're looking at something even more profound, how these financial titans are quietly becoming the architects of the media you consume every day. Let's start with the giant, Alphabet, the parent company of Google and YouTube, who really controls the world's largest search engine and video platform. BlackRock is one of the top economic owners of Alphabet, holding billions of dollars in Class A and Class C shares. But here's where it gets interesting. While BlackRock owns the shares, the actual voting power is concentrated with the founders. Larry Page and Sergey Brin control over 50% of the votes. So, BlackRock doesn't run Google, but they provide the massive economic engine that keeps it running, and that economic weight carries immense influence. YouTube's advertising revenue has surged over 400% in just a few years. It is now a more valuable media asset than many legacy TV networks combined. Now look at Disney. Unlike Google, Disney doesn't have a founder-protected voting structure. This makes it a primary target for institutional pressure. In 2024, a massive proxy fight broke out for control of Disney's board. BlackRock's support for CEO Bob Iger was the decisive blow that maintained the status quo. Institutional investors own over 65% of Disney. When BlackRock talks, Disney listens. This is the shadow governance of our entertainment. We often feel we have endless choices, but 90% of US media is controlled by just 6 conglomerates. And guess who the top shareholders are in all of them? Whether it's news, sports, or movies, the same few names appear on the cap tables. It's a concentration of information power that we've never seen before. Critics argue this leads to content homogenization, where different outlets start to sound exactly the same, avoiding topics that might upset their major investors. But the real shift is happening right here on YouTube. For years, individual creators were the independent alternative, but that's changing fast. Private equity firms, backed by institutional money, are now buying up successful YouTube channels. They see the creator economy as the new real estate. When a channel is owned by a corporation, the goal shifts from creative passion to algorithmic optimization. They want safe, repeatable, and advertiser-friendly content. At the heart of BlackRock's power is Aladdin, a risk management system that tracks everything from weather patterns to global stock movements. It sees what we can't. BlackRock claims to be a passive investor, but through their investment stewardship team, they engage in thousands of private meetings with CEOs every year. They decide which shareholder proposals pass and which fail. From environmental targets to social policies, their vote is often the only one that matters. For many creators, selling to an institutional-backed firm is a dream exit, but for the audience, it can mean the end of the raw, unfiltered voice they fell in love with. When massive educational channels like Veritasium or Astrum sell stakes to firms like Electrify, it signals a professionalization of the platform that mimics traditional TV. These firms treat YouTube channels like real estate, diversified portfolios that generate predictable monthly returns. The indie era of YouTube is maturing into a corporate one. The lines further blur when you look at the revolving door between BlackRock and government. High-level advisors frequently move between the firm and the White House. In 2022, BlackRock voted against a proposal for Alphabet to report on government censorship demands. This raises questions. Whose interests are they protecting? Because they manage the pensions of millions, they have a fiduciary duty to profit. But when that profit is tied to the very platforms that shape public opinion, who watches the watchers? Every creator on this platform pays an algorithmic rent. The platforms decide who gets seen, and the institutional owners decide how those platforms are governed. As YouTube continues to devour traditional TV's market share, the independence of the streaming world is becoming a misnomer. It's just the new mainstream. The future of streaming isn't 1,000 independent voices, it's a few massive silos owned by the same institutional titans that owned the old world. With Alphabet investing $65 billion in AI, the next phase of media isn't just about distribution, it's about creation. AI that creates what the institutions want. Google Cloud and AI models like Gemini will be the infrastructure for the next generation of creators, and BlackRock sits at the top of that infrastructure's capital. Take Moonbug Entertainment. They bought CoComelon and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar corporate powerhouse. It's no longer just a dad in a basement, it's a portfolio asset. With Aladdin's predictive power, BlackRock-backed firms can identify which content niches are undervalued and move in before anyone else even sees the trend. The revolving door isn't just a theory. From the National Economic Council to the Treasury, former BlackRock leaders are literally writing the rules for the economy. Could the answer be community-owned media, platforms where the users and creators actually hold the shares? It's a bold vision, but the road there is paved with corporate giants. At the end of the day, these titans only have power because we give them our attention. We are the ones who decide which voices thrive and which ones fade into the noise. The financial titans have the shares, but we have the attention. By understanding the game being played, we can decide where our attention truly belongs. This isn't just about finance, it's about the future of our digital reality. If you want to see more deep dives into the forces shaping our world, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one as we continue to follow the money and the power. Like, subscribe, and stay curious. BlackRock's influence isn't just a US story, it's a global one, with trillions of dollars flowing through the veins of every major market on Earth. They claim they are simply fulfilling their duty to retirees and pension funds, but when does a fiduciary duty become a fundamental control over the world's information? The power to shape reality through media is perhaps the greatest power of all, and it is a power that is increasingly concentrated in the hands of the few.